before we even get into fight stuff, you're a baseball guy, especially
Mhm.
Cleveland. So I'm going to ask you right away, how do you feel about both New York ball clubs not going to the playoffs?
I mean, I don't worry about New York. I worry about Cleveland.
I understand. I understand. Some people hate New York, so that's interesting. You just don't.
I don't hate New York. I just, I don't worry about it because I'm from Cleveland.
You got your own things to worry about. I got you. I got you.
Mhm.
So listen, we haven't seen you in action for 2.5 years now, Stipe. Why return now?
The fight I always wanted, what's bigger than Jon Jones, and it's a fight he wanted as well. And so I think it doesn't get any bigger than that, especially Madison Square Garden. It's just Veterans Day doesn't. I mean, it's awesome.
Now I know, you've had a lot to keep you busy between family and training and stuff like that as well. But and of course your full-time duties as a firefighter now. But have you missed MMA competition at all these last couple of years?
Yeah, definitely. It's not so much the competition. Of course, I love competition. I do miss it, but also just seeing the fans. And I've been in a couple of fights. You just get that atmosphere and just people. It just doesn't get bigger than that. And I love every second of it.
Would you have come back for anything less than, let's say, a championship fight?
Well, no, not that. I think it just. I really wanted to have a rematch with Francis. Unfortunately, he left to bigger and better things. Good for him. But after that, the only fight I wanted was Jon Jones.
Sure, sure. Was retirement ever a consideration if you weren't going to get this fight, or?
I think time was a consideration after every fight I've had since 136 when I fought Joy Beltran. So it's always been in the back of my mind.
Sure, sure. No, no, we've heard other fighters like Daniel Cormier, they swore they would never fight past 40, couldn't imagine doing so. You're 41 now. Did you think you'd still be competing if in your 40s?
Yeah, no, I definitely. I thought. I mean, I definitely thought so. I mean, I'm having fun. I love what I do, and I'm not. I'm not slowing down. I feel great. I feel I'm in great shape, and I'm getting better. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. I think. Just listening to your body, understanding it, and having an amazing team that I work with, and they understand how I feel and how I work, and don't want to back off, want to push it. And I'm very lucky.
How do you feel kind of differently now than, let's say, physically, than you did 7 years ago when you first became the champion?
I think just smarter. I guess more savvy as a veteran. I guess you say 'cause I've been through it all. Also, I'm bigger. Stronger. I think. And a lot of things. I think just more mature. I guess you would say then to knock it all up, soak it all in, and be mature.
We've seen you kind of come to the cage at different sizes depending on kind of the challenge in front of you. Do you have kind of a goal in mind of like the weight that you're looking to hit, or?
No, as long as I'm bigger and stronger, that's all I care about. I'll definitely be bigger than 230. I guarantee that. Way bigger.
Sure, sure. Is there any, dissatisfaction though that you really didn't get to have that Francis Ngannou fight, that trilogy?
No, it definitely sucks. I definitely wanted that trilogy, but unfortunately, that's the way a cookie crumbles. And listen, he's on to bigger and better things.
Of course, of course. Do you have any thoughts on that fight? How do you think it's going to go?
I mean, on paper, I got Tyson Fury, one of the best boxers of all time, amazing at what he does. But yeah, that man who's, Francis hits really hard, and it's a fight. Anything can happen. I wish him nothing but the best. I would be shocks the world.
Of course, of course. Now, of course, you're looking to get back how Jon Jones, like you said, this is the fight you wanted all along. He didn't win the title though from Francis, so it's kind of a weird thing. He's the UFC champion, but there's kind of like this almost difference between who's the champion and the UFC champion. Do you look at it that way? Do you see any difference, or?
No, I don't worry about the championship. I worry about my opponent. Everything's something attached to it, even better. But task is get my hand raised, and then I'll get the belt wrapped around the waist saying, "Yeah, I knew."
Thinking about Jon's performance when he came back and of course his first fight at heavyweight, how do you think he responded his body wise? How did it look to you? How did he look to you when he was fighting heavyweight this first time?
I don't know. I mean, he looked bigger. Definitely moved well. I mean, I can't really say much because it didn't go that long. So I mean, he has a great team, and they know how he's going to react to how he moves, and I guess they did the right way to do it. I guess. I mean, I don't really know. I wasn't in the camp, so. But I mean, he looked fine. I mean, he won. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter what you look like.
Did you think that he really needed to put on so much mass? He has such a big frame, and he probably walked around in somewhere in the 225, 230 range anyway. Did you think he would have been able to succeed even if he hadn't put on all that mass at heavyweight?
I don't know, probably, but I mean, the heavyweights that came up that were the same weight didn't do so well.
Gotcha, gotcha. And what's your own training been like since your last fight? What are you kind of doing in these last couple of years when it comes to the gym?
A lot more lifting, heavier weight, just really focusing on getting stronger and bigger. And the same, I'm just working on things I need to work on and things that I'm not never done before, just adding new things to the repertoire. So I think just the normal, like nothing, it's a little bit longer than usual, but nothing out of ordinary that I haven't done before.
Would there be like, because there was no actual fight camp or fight in front of you, were you taking any like maybe more extended breaks than you would normally?
I mean, yeah, there's days where I just didn't feel like training. I was tired. I just wouldn't go in, take my day off, or ice bath or something, cold plunge. So, I mean, but I think, you just listen to your body, and that's one thing that helped me out.
We did see John lean on, that wrestling very heavily in like you said, a brief fight with Cyril Gahn. One of his greatest assets, of course, is his wrestling. And obviously Gahn, maybe that's kind of a weakness he took advantage of. But how do you feel your takedown defense would hold up against John?
I mean, I think I do well. I know I do well. One of the things too is it takes down when you get right back up. I think I'm good at that. I mean, the one time DC got me down, unfortunately, I didn't get up, but after that, it never happened again.
Now, years back, you and I had the chance to speak. We did an interview in Lower Manhattan. It was like in a food court somewhere. You were promoting The Ultimate Fighter when you were coaching on that. You've not fought though in New York. This is at Madison Square Garden. How do you feel about the opportunity to compete at such a famous arena?
Doesn't get any bigger than that. Honestly, I think so. Check it out, the bucket list. I got a fight in Boston, which is pretty sweet, and New York to Mecca. This is what everyone talks about. And Madison Square Garden is such a big weekend. Veterans Day. It's just doesn't get any better than that.
And if everything goes your way at Madison Square Garden, how much longer are you thinking of fighting? Like, do you still want to stick around and defend that belt? Or
when it goes my way, I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I'm gonna worry about my fight, and that's all I care about. November 11th. That's all. Task at hand.